Why I think a lot of people homestead? Well, some people do it for personal security, satisfaction, just that sustainability kind of life. I think at the core of it, though, a lot of times it comes from a desire for freedom, a freedom from society, freedom from the financial system, freedom from government, just freedom from the over-regulated lives that we live every single day. We wanted to touch on one of the other aspects of that freedom and how we are attaining that freedom. To help with the financial system of it is through cryptocurrency. Now, some of you homesteaders out there might be thinking, why the heck is this person out in the forest going to be talking about cryptocurrency? Isn't that like a computer type thing, kind of the opposite of homesteading? But that's why I said I think it all comes from freedom, and cryptocurrency is a huge part of that freedom, that path to freedom. So let's get walking and talk.
So crypto in general, the reason I think there's freedom in that is if you just look at the inflation going on right now, for example, there's lots of reasons, but if you just look at the inflation right now, it has been going crazy, jumping way up, and it's because the Fed is just printing however much money they feel is right. It's because when you go to a bank and you deposit $10, that bank turns around and uses that $10 to under collateralize and take out loans from bigger banks and then give that out to more people. That generates more and more inflation. And it just doesn't work. It's not a sustainable system. On the flip side of that, there's Bitcoin. As an example, there's lots of them out there. I don't want to just jump onto Bitcoin because that's the most well known, but Bitcoin, there is a set number of coins that will ever exist. So there is no inflation on that. If anything, it's deflationary. So Bitcoin, since there is a set number of coins that will ever exist, you don't have to worry about more and more being printed. And if you have a savings, you don't have to worry about that savings being worth less and less and less because the Fed decides to keep printing more money. If you have one Bitcoin, you know at a minimum that Bitcoin's going to stay worth the same. I mean, there is always fluctuation. Cryptocurrency is still volatile, but I'm talking long term. Long term, it's being adopted. There's countries adopting it as their legal tender. It is getting more and more adopted. The whole S-curve says that it takes 90% of the time for 10% of the population to adopt something, and then 10% of the time for the other 90% of the population to adopt something. We are at about 4%, I think, 4% adoption worldwide. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Long term, it's going to stabilize out, and then you don't have to worry about inflation. You have a set number of coins, you save it, and it's going to deflate. It's going to be worth more, in my opinion. Let's see if she chases it. Where'd it go? So that's why I think a deflationary, non-inflationary, no more can be printed type of coin is the future of it. But then on top of that, and I'm kind of stuck on some branches here, so let's walk this way. But being a decentralized coin, so I have a hard time calling it a currency. A lot of people say cryptocurrency. It's more like a crypto security. It's an asset, a property that you can trade, buy, sell, trade. It doesn't always work as a currency. However, it can work as a currency if it's used correctly. But Bitcoin, as a decentralized cryptocurrency, there is not one organization that can control it. It's impossible. It is the most decentralized. Well, I take that back. There's one other one. It's called ADA by Cardano. It's a slightly more decentralized, but just barely. But Bitcoin is a decentralized currency, if you want to call it a currency, that you don't have to worry about a bank saying, oh, you know what, we need more of this. Let's just print off 10 more. Or let's print off a million more. No, there's 21 million that will ever be printed, or minted, I should say. So you're good, you're locked in. But then on the other side of that freedom, everybody wants to nickel and dime you to the poorhouse. Visa is an example of that. As a merchant, if you're selling things and you accept Visa, Visa takes about 3% of every transaction. It depends, there's little variables there, but 2.5%, 3% of every transaction, which it is convenient. You can just swipe a card and be good. But a merchant, this dog is pulling on branches. A merchant can't just eat those costs without passing them on to the customer, which being the customer, that means everything costs more, which, hey, that also adds to inflation. So you just get nickel and dimed, everything being 3% more so that the merchant can cover those costs. Things like Solana, for example, it's a faster network than Visa. It can handle more transactions per second than Visa, and it's way cheaper. It has a set fee that gets paid basically to other people that are providing the service of proof of stake is what it's called, without getting too far into it. But you can set it up where you're getting paid those fees by other people using the currency. But it provides a service where they can handle more transactions and do it cheaper. It calculates out being less than 5 cents each transaction. It doesn't matter if you're doing $10,000 or $1. So less than 5 cents for a transaction. That's huge if you're buying, gas at $150 a tank right now. If you're buying $150 worth of gas, 3% adds up. So it's a lot more than less than 5 cents. So without going off too far into a tangent as far as all the different coins, because there are a ridiculous amount of different coins and tokens that in the crypto world that all serve different purposes. And nobody really knows which one is going to be the main one. But without going too far into that, the end result is it provides that freedom that you're looking for to help yourself be sustainable. If you can do a transaction, if you have a neighbor that has a car you want to buy, you don't have to necessarily take out a loan with the bank. You can take out loans within cryptocurrency if you have the collateral for it. And if you have the money right out, you don't have to use a Visa and pay 3%, and then that 3% goes off to some big faceless corporation. You can do a peer-to-peer transaction, and then that 5 cents gas fee, they call it a gas fee in the crypto world, that 5 cent fee goes to other people, just random people, not big companies, random people that have set up validator nodes, and they get paid for that service that they're providing, which you can set up yourself and become even more independent if you want. You can become your own validator on your property, out in the woods, if you have some internet. There's the catch, you need some internet and some power, but with things like what Tesla's doing, satellite internet stuff that is providing high-speed internet basically anywhere, that's totally a possibility to have internet out on your homestead, set up a validator node, and make thousands of dollars a month if you want. I'm obviously making a lot of assumptions there, but it helps drive that self-sustainability, that freedom that a lot of homesteaders are looking for. It's all part of the plan. Chickens and crypto.
So a lot of people want to know why we chose to homestead. It's a really good question. We literally spent the last 20 years touring the globe while Zach was serving in the Air Force. And we've lived all over the place. And we've done what somebody has told us to do and said, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, for 20 years. And quite honestly, we're just done. Like, it's our time down here, right? Yeah, we just said, forget this. Like, I don't want to play by somebody else's rules anymore. I don't want to work 9 to 5 in the rat race. I don't want to listen to anybody else, to be quite honest. Like, I am perfectly capable of providing for myself and my family. And what better opportunity than now, especially in current times. So basically what it comes down to is I want control over my success or my failure. It's on me, right? If I want to work 20 hours a day because I want to do that, then great, let me do it. Don't tell me I have to work 20 hours a day. Like, let me do it on my terms. And so some of the really great perks about homesteading, watch out for your dog, and living off the land and living literally in the middle of the woods of Montana here, is that we have the flexibility to do that. I mean, we bought 5 acres, we built a home for our kids, We grabbed an extra animal or two, and we definitely need more. Chickens are on the way at some point. There's a beautiful space that I'm looking down on. We'll hold them and God knows what else. But at the end of the day, it's the life that we created for us and for our family, because that's what's important to us. Quality time, those experiences.
So to sum it up, basically homesteading, the reason we're homesteading is for freedom, dogs, and that freedom can be compounded, I think, with cryptocurrency is all I'm getting at. I think there are more homesteaders out there that should be looking into that. Living off the land, living with the animals, I think that is extremely valuable. We wouldn't be here if we didn't think that was valuable, but it's only part of that equation. In today's world, how much gas costs to maybe run your generators if you need generators, or if you're trying to go off of solar panels, that's not cheap. Just trying to get more pigs, whatever it is, everything is so expensive. You can't really make a sustainable life anymore, at least not very easily, 100% by yourself off the land. Cryptocurrency helps with that. So we're gonna be talking more about that on this channel. It's gonna be great. Ah. Good girl. Good girl. All right, let's walk down to